Happy International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia and Transphobia. So I thought I'd begin my series on how to write LGBT characters and why you should anyway, today because it is Ida Hobbit. So you've decided you want to write an LGBT character. Awesome! But you don't know where to start? You're worried that you're going to do it badly or wrong, or that someone's going to call you out or be hurt or upset with you for how you've done it. That's a fair concern. You're desperate not to perpetuate stereotypes? Good for you. So how exactly does one go about writing LGBT characters when one is not, in fact, LGBT? Well, lucky for you, your local non-binary pal is here to help you out. I have some quick tips and tricks on how to get started writing LGBT characters. Thus the title of the video. Step 1. Read stories by LGBT people. More importantly, try to read stories that are written by people who have the identity of the character you're trying to write, and or written about characters who have the identity of the character that you're trying to write. What I mean by this is if you're trying to write a gay man, read stories that are written by gay men that also have gay men in them. If you want to write a non-binary character, I have plenty of short stories completely free on nopoodles.wordpress.com that contain non-binary characters, and oh yeah,
hey, listen.
it's my fun. And oh yeah, let me reiterate, I am non-binary. Step 2. Read real-life experiences of people with the identity of the LGBT character that you're trying to write. However, also bear in mind that a lot of these real-life experiences are when people are upset or angry, or when papers and news outlets want to sensationalise the idea. And try not to let that skew your perception too much. Not every LGBT person's life is tragic and angry, even if a lot of the media about it is. I mean, think about it. How likely are people to read the headline, "Non-binary person has lovely weekend playing video games with wife"? You're not going to read that news story, are you? But the vast majority of my weekends are spent enjoying time with my wife, playing video games, making food, doing baking. Even when I go out, most of the time the worst I get is just the occasional misgendering, which sucks, but grand scheme, eh. Step 3. Don't write a coming out story. Your LGBT character can come out within your narrative without it being a coming out story. What I'm calling a coming out story here is a story that centres around the idea of a character coming out. The inciting incident is usually the decision that they are going to come out to their family, friends, co-workers, whatever. And the big climactic tension moment is when they actually do it, and the reaction to that. And ultimately, if you've never come out, you really don't know what it's like. So you, who has never come out, writing a coming out story is a bad idea. You, who has never come out, writing an LGBT character who happens to come out within the narrative, good idea. Having someone coming out as, "Oh, this is my wife," or "Oh yeah, I've got to get home to my wife," or "That's my wife," is a really great way of having your character come out. Even having your character saying, "Hey, I'm bisexual," or whatever, is a great thing to include. But writing the story of a person's first coming out, leave that to people who've been there. Step 4. Start small. Add an LGBT background character. Move up to an LGBT side character. Not necessarily your protagonist's best friend, because I would consider that a main character, but someone they see quite regularly who has an impact on the plot, but only a small one. And then finally you can actually jump in, tackle the big one, have an LGBT main character. Again, it doesn't have to be your protagonist if you don't want to do that, but having someone who is essential to the plot, preferably who doesn't die horribly, is one of the aims in trying to get to writing LGBT characters. Bear in mind that the more influential a character is, the more hints, tips and outright statements you will need to include to make the point that they're LGBT. A background character needs one throwaway line, whether that's a spoken line or the moment that they kiss someone of the same gender. A side character will have to have a couple of different hints. And finally, one of your main characters will have to have a lot of hints and probably have an explicit statement or two within the narrative. These are things that it's going to take you a while to learn and to figure out what is an appropriate thing to have as subtle hints and tips. So starting small is a really good idea. Remember that a character doesn't actually have to come out to be LGBT, but it is better if they do. And bear in mind that coming out doesn't necessarily have to be that moment of, hello, I'm non-binary and bisexual, and I sound like an NPC, and a badly written one at that. Don't know what that voice was, but there you have it. It is so easy to have it beyond just the, hi, I'm gay moment. And ultimately, the hi, I'm gay moment doesn't necessarily work if your protagonist is supposed to have known your LGBT character for a while. If your protagonist is supposed to already know that another character in your story is LGBT, having them come out with a hi, I'm gay doesn't make sense. Also try and steer away from, like, oh, this is my friend. He's gay. Like, don't do that. That's a bad idea. It is always better to try and then learn from your mistakes, because believe me, everybody makes mistakes. Your writing will only improve through trial and error. You're never going to get better if you haven't tried. This is the start of a series that's entitled How to Write LGBT Characters and Why You Should Anyway. And it will be running from today, Ida Hobbit, all the way through to the end of June. In the meantime, you can check out my other LGBT videos on my Living Life LGBT playlist, or you can check out my other writing advice videos on All About Writing. If you'd like to check out my short stories, I have a playlist of read alouds here, and they're all available for free on nopoodles.wordpress.com. And if you want to stay up to date with the series, you should think about subscribing to my channel. I am going to be posting every Friday from now until the end of June, which is a lot of Fridays. I'm definitely not prepared for this. If you would like to stay up to date with my life, my work and my bunnies, you can check me out on social media. I am on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook as nopoodles. And if you'd like to support what I do, there's a link to my Ko-fi account in the description. Hi, I'm gay. That's really weird.